الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على عبد الله ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So I was thinking about how to best convey, how to perform ruqya in a practical way. And I think rather than go through a great deal of theory, what is probably the best way is quite simply just to show a very simple demonstration of reading upon myself. And I think that that would be a really easy way for a person to understand. Now, before we start, it is very important to note that there is a matter of ijma'. And when I say a matter of ijma', I mean a matter of consensus. And that is a matter which the scholars agree upon, and there is no difference in this matter. And that is that ruqya has three conditions to it, and these three conditions must be fulfilled. The first one, أن تكون بكلام الله تعالى أو بأسمائه وصفاته أو كلام رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The first thing is that the ruqya can only be from the speech of Allah, His names, His attributes, and what the Prophet ﷺ said. That is the first condition. That it should be with the speech of Allah, Allah's names, that's the Quran, Allah's names and attributes, and the speech of the Prophet, yani the dua and the adhkar of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The second condition, أن تكون باللسان العربي أو بما يعرف معناه من غيره. That it should be from the Arabic language, it should be in Arabic, or it should be what is understood clearly if it's not in Arabic. For example, Quran you'll recite in Arabic, of course. But for example, if you don't know how to say اللهم رب الناس أذهب البأس اشفي وأنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاءك شفاء لا يغادر سقما, which is a dua of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you say, oh Allah, make the pain go away, cure, and you are ash-shafi, the curer. There is no cure except your cure, a cure that leaves no sickness. This is acceptable, but it is clear. It cannot be like mumbling. It cannot be unknown languages, strange names that nobody heard of before. It has to be clear in that way. And the third condition is أن يعتقد أن الرقية لا تؤثر بذاتها بل بقدرة الله تعالى والرقية إنما هي سبب من الأسباب. That you believe that ruqya does not in itself, that person's voice, that person's qira'ah in itself, it is not what brings a cure. But what brings a cure is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah's cure, for which ruqya, the recitation, is a cause of it. With that being said, how do we go about performing ruqya? Now, the first thing I want you to remember, again, before we do a practical demonstration, is I want you to remember that the person should be trying to cultivate these characteristics. If you're reading on yourself, which I'm going to show you a demonstration of right now, that's fine. If you're reading upon someone else, it's also the same, but you should be trying to cultivate those characteristics. The correct belief, seeking knowledge, taqwa, sticking to the sunnah, istighfar, dua, dhikr, all the things that we spoke about that a person should be trying to cultivate. This is about quality, not quantity. Sometimes people are like, I read for 3, 4, 5 hours a day. What else do you want me to do? How can I? You say, well, it's not 3, 4, 5 hours. It's about quality, not quantity. And that's why in the full Ruqya course, we have an entire lecture really on this topic of quality versus quantity. How can you improve the quality? But just briefly, turn your heart to Allah. Think about what you're reciting. Really keep in mind that firm belief that the cure is from Allah. Keep in mind that firm belief that this Quran is a shifa. Believe that Allah will bring you a cure from it. Udu'u Allah wa antum muqinuna bil ijaba. Make dua to Allah while you are certain that Allah will answer you. This is all from the ways that can improve the quality. Seek knowledge on this topic. Learn how better to do it. And no doubt, really connect your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and really think about what you are reciting and try to even understand the meaning of what you're reciting. My point is quality versus quantity. The Sahaba focused on quality. It was not quantity. So we should not leave that methodology and start to focus only upon just reciting 4 hours, 5 hours, and so on. Now, what should we recite? It's very simple. For the purpose of this how-to, we are only going to recite 2 types of things. We're going to recite from the Quran what the Prophet ﷺ advised us to recite. Surah Al-Fatiha, whatever is easy from Surah Al-Baqarah. Now, he recommended Surah Al-Baqarah. He said, he told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. فَإِنَّ أَخْذَهَا بَرَكَةٌ وَتَرْكَهَا حَسْرَةٌ وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُهَا الْبَطَرَةُ. For reading it is a blessing and leaving it is a loss, and magicians cannot do anything against it. Now, I'm not going to be able to recite the whole of Surah Al-Baqarah for this how-to because it's supposed to be short. But I'm going to recite مَا تَيَسَّرَ min Surah Al-Baqarah. I would recommend you to recite as much of it as you can. And if you divide it into portions, that's fine as well. One day you do a third, one day you do a third, one day you do a third, according to مَا تَيَسَّرَ. فَقَرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. Read whatever is easy from the Quran. Surah Al-Fatiha, وَمَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْ Surah Al-Baqarah. Particularly, of course, Ayatul Kursi. The last 2 ayahs going to focus on that as well. And I'm going to focus on the Quls, Surah Al-Kafirun, but particularly the last 3, Surah Al-Ikhlas and Al-Falaq and Al-Nas. As for the number of times that I recite, either I'm going to recite once, or 3 times, or 7 times, and if you recite more or less, it's fine, but don't give a number. And don't let someone say, recite this surah 42 times. Bid'ah. It's a bid'ah. Because the Prophet ﷺ never said it, and never told us to do it. So I'm going to say, no, don't put a number on something the Prophet ﷺ didn't put a number on. But some of the Sahaba read once, some read 3, some read 7, and read whatever you like more or less than that without counting. If you're going to count 1 or 3 or 7. That's the first category we're going to recite, the Quran. Second thing we're going to recite is what is reported from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, from the dua of Ruqya and the things that he recited over people. And that is inshallah going to be our Ruqya session. How long should it be? I'm going to inshallah make this relatively short because it's a video, right? And it's a how-to course. It's going to be too long, but relatively short demonstration on myself, inshallah ta'ala. And ideally, I think 45 minutes. This video won't be 45 minutes, inshallah, but 45 minutes is a good length, inshallah. Every day, more than that is fine. If you do Surah Al-Baqarah every day, it's amazing. If you do it a third every 3 days, amazing. And if you can only do less than that, do whatever Allah Azza wa Jal makes easy for you. But no doubt, the more complex the case, the more you'll have to recite. That being said, I'm going to give you a very brief demonstration. In this demonstration, I am going to recite only briefly, and I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do. You'll be able to see me doing certain things, like for example, holding my hand on the place of the pain, things like that. We're going to show you inshallah ta'ala. But one of the things I want to be very clear about is that you should not go into things that you don't have knowledge of. So if I haven't taught you to hit somebody, don't hit somebody. That is something which is another topic for the proper Ruqya course and another day. But do what you have knowledge of and suffice yourself with that, inshallah ta'ala. So with this, we are going to make a start, and you can observe the general behavior of the Ruqya, inshallah ta'ala. There is no difference if I was reciting on myself or reciting on someone else, generally speaking.